Marcellus told me, he said they're not playing jazz, they should rename it. What they've learned is improvisational music, that is, what to play over this chord during this time at this moment. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think, like it depends who's hiring me, and it depends whose band I'm playing because I tend to put the music first, and if I have the ability, I'll respect that. And if they want something different, then I would try to find uh, my own thing in it. And but I think that there's a lot of truth to what Branford said. There's I think it's this that's the beauty of keeping music moving forward. I mean, jazz has a uh, uh, such a depth, and it's like I try to find in my own approach. I try to find uh, the folk music in the areas that I go to travel.
Mhm.
I find a lot of times it's relevant to, like there's folk music in Sweden, there's folk music in Norway, Jan Garbarek, and those kind of. I learned, wow, they're really playing maybe not the American tradition, but they're finding their own tradition through improvisatory means. And I admire that. I think that's moving forward. That's moving the music. There's so many different. I think what we have is very unique to our country and how it's spread and how it's really been brought into such beauty. That's America's legacy is really that to me. It's the best thing, it's the best thing America can have. I mean, I've seen the evolution of it since I started. I'm so proud to be a part of it. I'm humbled by getting the opportunities, to have been able to play and listen and learn and to continue growing. I mean, I've had uh, two amazing opportunities, in my career, and one was supplied by uh, Thad Jones, and the other one was supplied by Terrell Stafford. I mean, I this is to me the future or the legacy we live in this world is going to be due to that kind of understanding, that kind of love, and I hope that I can live long enough to see it even get into better terms. I mean, that's what I mean. This music has made me grow in so many ways possible, Marshall. I mean, it's not just about the music itself, it's about the people that I've been able to be graced by. It's like incredible. I mean, it's such an open, lovely. Just I've grown, and I'm so glad that I I got out and I came to, and I forced myself basically because I was a very small town boy. I was very afraid of everything, but I forced myself to grow and to continue. And I'll do that till the very end because this music is really the beauty. That's the thing for me.
It's, I agree with you. For me, music has always been a spiritual healing force.
Like I used to, I used to get these feelings when I would hear Hodges play. These emotion, like you were talking about, this emotional thing, and I said, and that's what attracted me. That emotion, that love, that passion, and that's what when I would hear a piece of music, it could be Sound of Music, it could be could be the Beatles or whatever, that chord that moved to this chord or that moved that progression to this. What was that thing that gave me that feeling? What was that emotion I got from that particular moment in that particular song? And that's what I want to invest in. That's what I want to invest myself in. I want to learn about, why do I tear up if I watch this? Why do I listen to this and it brings out this? And that's, I think, that's a lot about finding yourself, I think, instead of trying to run away from it, saying, oh, that's just some corny stuff because this guy said it was so. So no, I mean, I uh, it's like whatever it does, whatever type of passion uh, that you can get, that's, to me, is essential to know what that is for you. You're the individual that's got to channel that. And so that's what I tried to find, is the channeling it with hopefully not the passion, but like-minded passion of our elders, you know. And my best example was Hodges, and my father was an emotional player too, and he had a great sound, and he didn't get to go as far as he went, but he wanted to, but then he lived through his children doing it. So that's the beauty of it. We're going to carry it on. You're going to carry it on. I'm going to carry it on to the next. And that's why I love teaching. That's why I love my students that I have at Temple or anywhere.
Sure.
I want to. That's our job, is to keep this love and this passion. Because, man, you know what it's like when it's not there.
Yeah, that's interesting what you said, because my pop played trumpet when he was younger, and then he signed up for World War II, and went off. He was actually stationed in Japan for the whole year, 1945, and
Really?
yes,
Oh my God.
he took pictures. I have a book of pictures. He was at Okinawa. He told me
Oh,
he saw the nuclear site. He couldn't take pictures of that. I have a lot of pictures I want to publish. I never understood his trauma. My wife saw the pictures where he wrote Okinawa and had pictures of people there, and nothing gruesome, but just amazing catalog.
yeah.
So she took me to Okinawa. I had already been to Hiroshima with Basie years ago, and I went with some
Right.
of the cats in the band, and they were like, "Oh man, I want to go back to the hotel and do something." Like, well, you guys go ahead. And I just stayed there for like 2 or 3 hours, man. And I looked at everything in there and I read it, and then I sat outside for a while and just absorbed the memory of it, what my father told me, because what he described to me, he saw exactly matched the images on the wall. And he had told me about, I won't get into the details, but he described it. And it traumatized him terribly. And only once in his life, one night, he talked to me about that after he'd been drinking. My mother said he never spoke about it. I tell you that story to tell you this. When he left, he played trumpet. And I heard he liked jazz music, I was told. When he came back, he was a little different. And he had to work and all that, got married. He did play classical piano. And for some reason, he stopped liking jazz. I think a part of him was ashamed of the black community, to tell you the truth. It's difficult being a black person, or a Negro as it was then, because in order for him to succeed, he had to make certain concessions. And he moved us to an all-white neighborhood like my mother so we could get education. And that's how we got to the classical music. But like your pop, music to him was so important. He played the classical parts with me as I practiced clarinet. He always had classical music going in the house, and he loved him some Dick Gregory and some Richard Pryor records too. So he here I'm like a little kid, and he's got I won't get the words, but he's got Richard Pryor blaring. He's like, he's laughing to his stuff. So he's the one who took me to see Blazing Saddles. I was a kid. I don't know. I don't know. I was too young to even get it, right? All I knew, my pop and me, we went to go see Blazing Saddles in the theater, and I never heard my dad laugh so much for like. I mean, he had a ball, right? I didn't know who
Oh,
Count Basie was. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? And I never dreamed I would play with Count Basie. And then I saw the movie later. Of course, there's Count Basie in the movie. I get in the Basie Band, and Jackie Kelso was playing lead alto. Do you know who Jackie Kelso is?
yeah. I think, yeah.
He's passed away now. He was part of the Wrecking Crew, which people don't like that term. Carol Kay doesn't like it. The Wrecking Crew, Hal Blaine, all those recordings, Plas Johnson, Glenn Campbell, you know, the amazing group of people that
Yeah.
made so much. Jackie actually lived in a trailer. This is true, a trailer outside of the studios. There was so much work. I asked Plas, "Is that true?" He said, "Oh yeah, Jackie lived in a trailer right outside the studio, and it was 24 hours a day they were recording." And Jackie was explaining to me how he perfected his craft, you know, to get the recording so exact that he wouldn't even need to hear the playback after a while. He said, "I knew what I played." He told me I kept my alto on a stand or my saxophone on a stand. When I rolled out of bed, I put it in my mouth. You know, he just completely lived the music.
Wow.
Um, uh,
Wow. That's
he told me what happened for the Blazing Saddles was that they filmed that in California. So Jackie was the contractor. He's in the movie. I'm sitting by Jackie, and he's talking to me. He knew Marshall Royal. Marshall gave him his mouthpiece. I have Marshall Royal's last mouthpiece, the last Runyon that Marshall played.
really,
Because
wow.
Jackie had it. I went to Plas Johnson's house. I actually have it. You know, it's the Marshall Royals inscribed on the top. John Williams said he had two of them. He had the first Runyon, which he accidentally dropped, the one that's on a lot of records, and it cracked, and Marshall was kind of devastated. Runyon made him a second one. Santi made him a second one. John Williams told me he didn't like it as much, but you see it in videos with Lawrence Welk at the band. It has a black tape around it. I actually have it in my possession in my collection game from Jackie
Really,
Kelso.
wow. That's amazing.
It is amazing.
How
So
big
Jackie
was
said,
it?
hmm?
How big was it?
I measured it. I have one of those steel wanty things, you know. I measured it. It was at 8.5 tip opening, which is big for me. But the chamber is very small, and it doesn't feel big though. But once you put it on the con, it's perfect. The air moves through really fast, and
Forties on it.
Jackie got those cats on it. Some of them are LA cats. Some of the Basie cats are able to fly out for the movie, including Count Basie. And I'm just telling the whole story because to go from seeing Blazing Saddles with my pop to sitting
Yeah.
beside the man who organized the contracting just blew my brain. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, right. That's amazing. Wow. What a coincidence, right? The responsibility that those cats had for us, taking care of us and, let departing all this knowledge. And it's not in different ways too, like remember going to do a club date once. I think I was in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And, I went there and they said, okay, yeah, what tunes you want to do? So I don't know. They said, well, how about let's do It's You or No One. I said, well, I don't really know that. He says, well, that's okay. You got good ears. Just play on it. So I did that. And then I came back to call, hey, you sounded good. I'll call you back for next week. And so the first tune they called me back was It's You or No One. And I didn't know it. I didn't learn it. And they said, they didn't say anything. They just didn't call me back again. Because it's just basically, it's not my job to teach you, babysit you. I got a family of kids myself. Your job is to take the hint and do the homework,
Hmm.
you know? And so that taught me a lot. Just like if you commit to something, really try to commit to it. So when I committed to lead alto, I really wanted to commit to it. So I tried to listen to the best, and same thing with you know anything that I would do. I was always thinking that I serve the music, and that's my kind of always been my motto. Whether I make any huge artistic statements, or it's not as important to me as much as me giving the music what I feel it deserves. So
But the Thad Jones Mel Lewis band was one of my most favorite bands, man. You know, since I graduated high school in '77, we know it was such a big deal then, man, that we all had that, all those charts you play in high school. And every time I've come down to the Vanguard to hear you guys play, man, I and all of you have kept that band so viable and so wonderful. And it's amazing to sit in the Vanguard with a big band and not have my ears hurt. I appreciate that, man. 'Cause no. I came out and told folks, man, you all need to go see that band, see, because they're playing dynamics. It's called music. You know what I'm saying? They're playing- so many big bands I get, and they're just pounding it right at you the whole time.
Yeah.
You
Well,
got
that's like it's the music has taught me so much. That music has taught me how to uh, phrase and double, uh, you know, play different composers' approaches. And so I think, if that was my college, I would have to say that that band is because I dropped out after about a year of college, and that became, my education, just going down there and serving the music. So
how many years have you been in there?
it'll be 44, maybe 44 in June.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
It's
I
amazing.
guess, I mean, it might be shorter now. I'll have to say, well, I missed a year, so it'll probably be what? I can say, well, okay, 42. That's okay. You
Well,
know,
I've really, I could probably talk to you forever because it's fascinating to me, man. I'm gonna have to try to edit this up, and I'm gonna make portions of our time together. I think because it's always too long for the listener now. So I'm learning on this.
yeah.
I'm gonna
But
cut things.
man, it's just been, so great to talk to you, and you've had such an amazing career, and I'm very proud to be, you know, a kindred spirit with you. So, of you're a great cat, and you're a part of what makes this music evolve and grow for me. So, you know,
I'm,
much love.
I'm, I, I'm humbled to have you say that because you're one of my teachers, man. I've been listening to you for a long time, man. My favorite track is that long alto. What's the straight alto? I don't know what that tune is.
Yeah, I don't know. It was I kind of just made the tune up in the studio because I needed more time,
Right?
so I needed to make something up. So I just made. I
You
think it
wrote
was.
it. You sent me the whole form in an email, but I just love that track because it sounded so spontaneous, and you played so inventively, and plus your enunciation was really kid, and the straight alto had that different sound. I just get such joy from putting it on. I can't explain it to you, man. I just.
I remember, I took it on a couple gigs. I took it on a couple gigs with Berganzi, and Berganzi said, "Oh, you're doubling on alto? What the? What is that?" Oh, funny.
All right, man. Look,
Yeah.
thank you so much for this time. I'll try to work this together into some things. And Sensei,
Then say, yeah. Thank you.
arigato gozaimasu. Be careful.